Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Battle Cry with me, Shiv Arur. Now, India's national airline Air India has been struggling for many years, and you're probably wondering, what does that have to do with battle cry and national security? Well, it's our top story today.
Humble Air India airliners up for a massive career change. Six of them will be fully transformed and become national security jets, from passenger jets to eyes in the sky. As 2020 draws to a close, India's defense forces think out of the box. Valuable utilization of struggling airline. Could this new thinking pave the way? The big story on Battle Cry.
If you've been a domestic flyer, then there's a very good chance that you've flown in aircraft exactly like these, perhaps even these very same aircraft. But it's incredible because what the government has done is, looking at the way procurement actually works, it has decided to think out of the box, look at what's available in even a struggling entity like Air India, and see how these aircraft can be transformed into national security assets desperately needed by the Indian Air Force.
Chances are you've flown in one of these. Air India A320s, among the most common and numerous domestic airliners. But now, 6 of these jets, normally used to ferry passengers like us between cities, are up for a career change. If all goes well, in a few years, the erstwhile Air India airliners will look something like this. That black object slung onto the airliner's back, a powerful indigenous radar antenna that converts the harmless passenger jet into a formidable airborne early warning and control platform. Quite literally, an eye in the sky. The Modi government has just approved a 10,500 crore rupee plan that will see 6 Airbus A320s from the Air India fleet be modified, refurbished, and then hooked up with the complex sensors and electronics required to give them a new national security role. In their new avatar, the A320 early warning jets will be superior versions of the Netra jets, a pair of which are already in service with the Indian Air Force. The latter are based on Embraer business jets and have impressed their user with their capabilities in daily operations. The Netra jets played a crucial role in directing fighters during the Balakot air strikes and the ensuing air skirmish near the line of control in February 2019. The need for more such aircraft with superior capabilities has been strongly felt since. The standoff in Ladakh has no doubt accelerated plans to look for a solution. Optimizing Air India fleet assets for a national security role is being seen as a low-risk option, since procurement of aircraft is usually a long-winded process in India. The original early warning and control jets in the Indian Air Force are these Falcon systems, which have Israeli sensors mated to Russian Tu-76 aircraft. In 2015, India's DRDO was cleared to pursue an Indian AWACS program that would see an indigenous radome mated to Airbus A330 jets. In light of the new Air India 320 plan, the fate of this indigenous AWACS program is now unclear. India's meandering and slow defense procurement procedure has received a jolt by the continuing standoff in Ladakh. Hopefully, accelerated requirements will lead to better planning and faster decisions.
Now, while those Air India jets for the Indian Air Force are going to take a few years before they become a reality, there's something that's about to enter service and be a huge difference in terms of what the Air Force can do in the air. It's the Astra missile. We've told you about it here on Battle Cry before, but here's even better news. The Astra missile, which is entering service now, has a transformative program that's going to make it into a Super Astra. Take a look.
It's one of India's most important weapon systems. The Astra long-range air-to-air missile. After years in development, the Indian Air Force and Navy were convinced enough to place orders for nearly 250 of these missiles in July. The Astra, built to engage and take out enemy aircraft at long distances, is a massive Indian success story that will prove to be a game changer in protecting Indian airspace. Work has already begun to integrate the Astra onto the Indian Air Force's MiG-29s, LCA Tejas and the Indian Navy's MiG-29K carrier-based fighters. But the journey of the Astra has actually only just begun. Currently sporting a formidable range of about 100 kilometers, work has begun to create a longer range version. An Astra that can engage targets at ranges of 160 kilometers or more. A hefty 45% increase in its reach. The Super Astra will begin testing in 2022, with service entry thereafter. First fired from a Su-30 MKI in 2014, the Astra has been a relatively smooth journey through development, with the Indian Air Force impressed by its capabilities all through. Since 2018, the 110-kilometer range weapon has been tested with an indigenous seeker. The computer system that guides the missile, replacing the Russian active radar seeker, making it a truly Indian weapon. The milestone order in July for the Astra is of enormous significance, especially since the Indian Air Force has publicly said it wants to standardize the missile across its fighter fleet where sensible to do so. The other formidable air-to-air weapon that entered service with the Indian Air Force this year was the European Meteor as part of the Rafale fighter system. While the Meteor will be restricted to the Rafale fleet, the Astra will be standardized across Indian fighters and could theoretically even see service on Rafales in the future. A true Indian missile success story in supersonic flight. Bureau Report, India Today.
It was right here on Battle Cry a few weeks ago that you got the first images of the extended range version of India's most capable missile, the Brahmos supersonic cruise missile. Well, now the government, the armed forces have decided they've seen enough and they want that missile in service as soon as possible.
On earlier episodes of Battle Cry, we have shown you how India's formidable Brahmos supersonic cruise missile has been proven out at a lethal extended range, giving it a 50% boost in targeting reach from 300 kilometers to 450 kilometers. And with the testing done, the Indian military is all set to place orders for the extended range anti-ship and land attack weapon, seeking to strengthen firepower of its warships. The Indian Navy is looking to equip its warships with 38 new Brahmos ER missiles. A 17,000 crore proposal to acquire 38 extended range Brahmos supersonic cruise missile is with the Defence Ministry and is expected to be approved soon, government sources tell India Today. In October, Battle Cry scooped the first images of a crucial proving test of the Brahmos extended range. The Brahmos is seeing a great deal of limelight this year, including on the 49th Vijay Divas, where a Brahmos was fired during an exercise from an Indian Navy ship. The missile is, without doubt, one of India's most important weapons. But let's take you back a few weeks to where things really began to turn.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now.
The unmistakable roar of the Brahmos, screaming into the air. This supersonic cruise missile is the fastest weapon in India and one of the fastest in the world. But this unpublicized test from September 30, a video from which you're seeing for the first time here on India Today, wasn't just another test of the Brahmos missile. You cannot tell from these dramatic pictures, but the weapon being tested here is a beefed up Brahmos. While the Brahmos has for long been restricted to a 290 kilometer range, this test saw the Brahmos being tested at ranges well in excess of 400 kilometers. Also invisible to the eye are a slew of improvements that make this weapon significantly more stealthy. With this range extension, several more targets come within range of the Brahmos missile, including several air bases, military establishments, and Chinese army depots in Tibet. The speed and stealth of the Brahmos also ensures very little reaction time to its targets. The Brahmos, in simple terms, is now a threat to many more Chinese targets than earlier. Brahmos missile regiments are already deployed in Ladakh and Arunachal Pradesh at this time. With the range extension updates to the missiles, they get longer legs. Theoretically, every Brahmos in service can now sport an extended range, including the Brahmos on Indian Navy warships. The air-launched Brahmos from the Indian Air Force's Su-30 MKI fighters, and most immediately, the Army's large number of Brahmos regiments. The hugely significant extended range Brahmos has been tested out to 400 kilometers, but will ultimately be pushed to over 800 kilometers, making it the most fearsome strike weapon in the Indian arsenal. You can be sure that China has taken note. Bureau Report, India Today.
If you thought that 2020 was a year full of missile action and missile activity, especially if you've been watching it here on Battle Cry, well, don't worry, because 2021 is going to be full of it too. There are many new missile systems that are entering service for the first time in this coming year. Here's a roundup of those.
As 2020 draws to a close, one of the defining features of Indian defence has been the rapid flurry of missile tests and immense muscle flexing. From the hypersonic demonstrator vehicle to the laser-guided anti-tank missile, to the Shaurya, to the smart missile-delivered torpedo system, to the Rudram anti-radiation missile, to the Nirbhay cruise missile, to the Sant, and of course, the extended range of Brahmos. It has been the year of missile tests in all their brutal glory. And while those programs continue at full speed, now let's tell you about missiles, both foreign and indigenous, that will be joining Indian service very soon. The first is a missile that will be the standard anti-ship missile on the soon-to-arrive MH-60 Romeo helicopters for the Indian Navy. The Norwegian naval strike missile will be the weapon on board. So far, seen being fired from ship-based and land-based test launchers, the naval strike missile has been developed for helicopter and aircraft carriage. With India set to be one of the first customers for this capability. Meanwhile, in India, scientists are also developing an indigenous heli-borne anti-ship missile, designated the Naval Anti-Ship Missile or NASM. The missile is currently on the drawing board, but could enter its crucial test phase in 2 years. Another important weapon that the armed forces are waiting on is the indigenous Quick Reaction Surface-to-Air Missile or QRSAM. The missile, intended as a lightning-quick air defense weapon, has already been test-fired a few times and will likely be ready for service in a year or two. But there's an indigenous weapon that has finished its development and testing, has been ordered by the Indian Air Force and Navy, and is fully set for entry into operational service. The Beyond Visual Range air-to-air missile has been accepted with great joy by the Indian Air Force. And the missile, coupled with the brand new Meteor long-range air combat missiles on the new Rafale jets, will prove to be game changers in protecting Indian airspace. India's pride, its guided missile program, has borne several dependable weapon fruits. And it won't be ending anytime soon.
That's it on this episode of Battle Cry. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, as we always say here on the show, India's true strength will only be realized when no weapon is fired and no human needs to be sent into battle. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.